Most people will work for 40 years, hand over the best hours of their best decades, and retire at 65 with just enough to get by. Not because they had no choice, but because nobody ever showed them the alternative was within reach. The people who got out early didn't stumble onto some secret. They just ran the numbers that most people walk right past. Marcus and Derek are two guys from Columbus, Ohio, who started from the exact same place. They grew up 3 houses apart on the same street, same public school, same graduating class of 2001. Both landed jobs paying $52,000 a year by age 24. Both rented apartments and had $0 in savings when they started. By 40, Marcus had $11,000 in a savings account, a car payment, and a vague plan to get serious about retirement soon. By 40, Derek had $847,000 invested. Not in crypto, not in some startup his cousin pitched him. In boring, predictable index funds, the kind your grandfather could understand. Derek never earned significantly more than Marcus. His peak salary was $74,000. He never inherited money. He never sold a business. He never got lucky on a stock tip. The gap between $11,000 and $847,000 wasn't built on talent, income, or luck. It was built on one decision Derek made at 26 that Marcus kept putting off, and the compounding effect of that single decision over 14 years. Most people here retire early and picture tech executives or trust fund kids, someone who started with advantages they didn't have, so they stop listening before they hear the part that actually applies to them. Early retirement, real early retirement in your 50s or even your late 40s, isn't a personality type. It's not a salary bracket. It's a math problem, and math problems have answers. The answer is almost offensively simple. Nobody in the financial industry is going to walk you through this calculation, because it ends with you needing them a lot less. Derek figured it out on a Saturday afternoon with a spreadsheet. Marcus is still waiting for the right moment. You're about to see exactly what Derek did, year by year, dollar by dollar, and why the window is still open for you right now, even if you're starting later than you'd like. If you're somewhere between 32 and 52, this section was written specifically for you. You probably feel one of two things. Either you haven't started and the guilt sits quietly in the back of your mind every time someone mentions retirement. Or you've started, but not seriously, a 401k you have funded, a savings account you haven't touched, and you're not sure if the gap is still closable. The fear underneath both is the same. It's too late. That early retirement is for people who started at 22 with a plan, not someone staring down their 40s wondering where the time went. That fear is doing a lot of work for the financial industry. The moment you believe it's too late, you stop calculating. You hand control to the people who've been waiting for you to give up. The math disagrees. A 38-year-old earning $68,000 who hits a 25% savings rate today can reach financial independence in 17 years. At 55. Not 65. 55. With completely average market returns and zero inheritance, zero side income, zero luck. Your timeline is still an asset. The only thing that changes when you start later is the urgency. And urgency, it turns out, is exactly what most people needed anyway. Here is the thing the financial industry has spent decades making sure you never clearly understand. Your savings rate matters more than your income. Not a little more, dramatically more. A person earning $120,000 and saving 5% reaches financial independence later than a person earning $65,000 and saving 30%. That's not motivation. That's arithmetic. And the implication is deeply inconvenient. Most people don't need more money to retire early. They need a different relationship with the money they already have. The industry profits from keeping this obscure. An investor who understands that a low-cost index fund and a high savings rate is 90% of the answer doesn't need much management. Nobody advertises that. Most people never discover that the most powerful lever in their retirement timeline isn't their salary or their stock picks. It's the percentage of their income they keep. Change that number, even by 5%, and you don't just save more, you shave years off your working life. The foundation of early retirement math is the 4% rule. If you have a portfolio large enough that 4% of it covers your annual expenses, you can withdraw that amount every year indefinitely without running out of money. So the question isn't how much do I need in some vague sense. It's precise. It's precise. What are your annual expenses multiplied by 25? If you spend $48,000 a year, your FIRE number is $1.2 million. Not $3 million, $1.2 million. That's the target. Now watch what savings rate does to the timeline. Take someone earning $65,000, taking home $51,000 after tax. At 10% savings, $5,100 a year, they reach $1.2 million in 46 years. They retire at 70. At 20% savings, $10,200 a year, they reach it in 32 years. They retire at 56. At 30% savings, $15,300 a year, they reach it in 25 years. They retire at 49. At 40% savings, $20,400 a year, they reach it in 20 years. They retire at 44. The income didn't change. The market didn't cooperate in some unusual way. One variable moved, and it cut 26 years off the timeline. The 7% return in these projections is deliberately conservative. The S&P 500 has averaged approximately 10% annually over the last century. At 10%, those timelines compress further still. One more number. Every $100 per month redirected from spending to investing is worth approximately $120,000 over 25 years at 7% returns. The math on small, consistent redirections is almost violent in its impact over time. Back to Marcus and Derek. Both are 24, earning $52,000 in Columbus, taking home around $40,000 a year. Same apartments, same used cars, same zero financial head start. Derek at 26. Derek reads an article about the FIRE movement on a Tuesday night. He spends a Saturday doing the math. He spends about $28,000 a year. FIRE number is $700,000. He opens a Vanguard account, sets up $1,100 a month in automatic contributions, 28% of his take-home, into a total market index fund, and largely forgets about it. Marcus at 26. Marcus gets a $3,000 raise and upgrades his apartment. He opens a 401k because HR told him to, contributes 3%, enough for the employer match, and thinks of it as basically investing. Age 30. Derek's salary is $58,000. He's redirected both raises, kept his lifestyle flat. Portfolio, $87,000. The contributions are automatic. He barely notices. Marcus earns $61,000. Bigger apartment. New car on a 60-month loan. He has $4,200 in his 401k and $1,800 in savings. He'll get serious after the car is paid off. Age 35. Derek earns $67,000, contributing $1,400 a month. Portfolio, $231,000. His money is now earning more than $16,000 a year on its own. Marcus earns $64,000. The car is paid off. The $380 monthly payment dissolved into his lifestyle without a trace. He has $19,000 in his 401k. He starts reading about investing. He feels behind. He's right. Age 40. Derek's portfolio, $847,000. He's contributed approximately $218,000 over 14 years. The remaining $629,000 is pure compound growth. Money his money made. He's 3 years from never needing to work again unless he wants to. Marcus, $11,000 in savings, $41,000 in his 401k. Total, $52,000. To reach $1.1 million from here at 7%, he needs to invest $2,200 a month for 20 years. That's 52% of his take-home. It is, for most practical purposes, not going to happen. The divergence wasn't income. Derek's peak salary was $74,000, barely more than Marcus's $68,000. It was 14 years of one automated decision made before either of them knew where their life was going. That's the math. That's the whole story. Rule 1. Calculate your actual FIRE number before anything else. Vague is the enemy of action. Take your annual spending, multiply by 25, write it down, Spend $52,000 a year? Your number is $1.3 million. Spend $38,000? It's $950,000. The target turns retirement from a mystery into a countdown. Rule 2. Optimize your savings rate, not your income. Moving from a 10% to a 25% savings rate on $60,000 does more for your retirement timeline than a $20,000 raise spent the usual way. Before your next salary negotiation, calculate what a 5% savings rate increase does to your fire date. The answer will reorder your priorities. Rule 3. Redirect every raise before you feel it. Lifestyle inflation isn't a character flaw. It's what happens when money appears with no instructions. Every raise, redirect at least 50% of the after-tax increase before you ever see it. A $4,000 raise redirected at 50% adds $166 a month to your investments, roughly $50,000 over 15 years at 7%. You don't miss money you never budgeted for. Rule 4. Stop waiting until you earn more to start. A 30-year-old investing $400 a month until 60 accumulates $490,000 at 7%. A 40-year-old doing the same accumulates $208,000. Same contribution, same returns. The 10-year delay cost $282,000. Starting with $200 today beats starting with $500 in 5 years. The math is not subtle about this. Rule 5. Make index funds your default and complexity your enemy. Vanguard's VTSAX charges 0.04% annually. The average actively managed fund charges 0.70%. On a $500,000 portfolio, that's $3,300 a year in unnecessary fees. Over 20 years, the compounding difference exceeds $100,000. Boring wins. Every time. Rule 6. Learn the Roth conversion ladder before you need it. Most people assume the 10% early withdrawal penalty on 401k funds before age 59.5 is unavoidable. It isn't. Convert traditional 401k funds to a Roth IRA each year in retirement, pay income tax but no penalty. And after a 5-year seasoning period, those funds are fully accessible penalty-free. Someone who retires at 50 can access retirement funds at 55 without a single dollar in penalties. The IRS built this door into the tax code. Most people retire at 65 without ever knowing it existed. Rule 7. Consider the part-time bridge. Retired doesn't have to mean never working again. Someone with $600,000 invested at 48 who earns $20,000 a year part-time only needs their portfolio to cover $28,000 of their $48,000 in expenses. The withdrawal rate drops to 1.3%. The portfolio grows. They work 2 days a week doing something they chose. That is freedom, and it's available before you hit your full FIRE number. Picture 2 versions of yourself at 58. The first is sitting across from an HR manager, pushing retirement back to 67 because the math still doesn't work. The knee you've been ignoring is harder to ignore. You're good at your job. You've always been good at your job. But the same commute, the same meetings, 9 more years of it, that thought settles somewhere in your chest and stays there. The second version is 3 years into something you stopped calling retirement because the word doesn't fit anymore. You consult occasionally because you like the work. You spent 6 weeks in Portugal last spring. You're present at things you used to miss. Your portfolio is worth more than the day you left because the market kept moving after you stopped needing it to. You're not rich by financial media standards. You're free by the standards that actually matter. Both of those people had the same information. The difference isn't talent, income, or luck. It's whether they ran the numbers. The numbers aren't complicated. The math isn't exclusive. The window isn't closed. The only question is what you do with the Saturday afternoon in front of you.